reading and writing, that came to me from my mother.
It was an adventure with my mother to go to the library, to pick out books, and for her to suggest books, and the librarian to suggest books.
My mom had a friend who worked in the children's section. Mrs. Noyes was her name, which I always thought was hilarious.
My mother was a librarian. Every Friday we went to the Enoch Pratt Free Library in Baltimore, and we got our books for the week. That's just what we did.
There was a public library, one of those beautiful, sweet little Carnegie libraries in our town.
I had to wait until I was 7 to get my own library card.
It was miraculous to me to realize that that stately, imposing building, I could actually just walk through the doors, that anyone could walk through the doors.
I don't know that everybody understands, and I hate to sort of reveal this for people that don't know this. All the secrets are in the library.
I am a public library girl. I think about why I became a poet, of all things. It was about loving the absolute distillation of language, of loving words themselves.
One of the overall goals that I have is to represent many different aspects of human experience. So in that way, the films are novelistic, and I think I've been more influenced by what I've read than by what I've seen.
Writing an essay begins with exhaustively reading. So just read, it's all I think about. Usually in that reading, I come across some little clue. Maybe it's just like a dropped footnote, or it's a paragraph that doesn't make sense.
Like I say, it was the habit of reading, which was continually rewarding. I discovered that I could travel great distances with books.
The first thing I wrote for The New Yorker was a piece on the West Indian Day Carnival in Brooklyn. I didn't think I wrote it. I took notes, and then I wrote up my reflections on what had happened, and I handed them in, and I thought they would rewrite them into something proper, but it was published just the way I wrote it, and I looked at it and I thought, oh, that's what my writing is. It's the thing that I am thinking.
My first attachment to music was more or less abstract classical music and modern music, and then I got real writers to work with. And I found that it made a big difference. I wanted to work with people. Most of them, they could be screenwriters or they could be playwrights.
When I start a film, I have no thesis or point of view in mind. I try to create a dramatic structure, and I have to be concerned with the same kind of things you're concerned with in writing. Introduction of characters, point of view, passage of time.
There's just something you can kind of tug at and begin to unravel, and that if you follow that yarn all the way along, it'll bring you to the story that you need. Like I'm sitting at a desk in a library like the reading room, the manuscripts division of the New York Public Libraries, and they bring out a box, and I open up the box, and it's like, oh my, I found it, like I found the story is here.
In a great poem, there is infiniteness. You go back to those words and verses over and over and over again, because if it's really great, something always emerges anew.
Part of the fun of making a film is the discovery of what happens. In an ordinary experience, there is much comedy, drama, tragedy, sadness, as there is in great literature.
The funny thing is that the writers I know worry much more about their writing than composers do about their music. We just write music and play it.
I am so moved by this honor. Anything that comes from the New York Public Library makes me feel like my writing means something to a lot of people.
Becoming a Library Lion was a great honor for me. I was surprised and very pleased, because the library is a major American cultural institution, so I'm very glad to be honored.
I'm really rather speechless. It's a great honor to be recognized as a lion by this great public institution.
It's truly a distinguished honor to be honored by the library. I think my mother would have been very happy.
There's a letter that E.B. White wrote when Anne Carroll Moore, she was banning Stuart Little and telling librarians around the country not to order it, in which E.B. White talks about trying to sneak the mouse in past the lions. So yeah, I would like to be the mouse in this story.